Hey, I'm Lex.
And I'm Gibby, and welcome to another episode of Porch Swing People.
Each week we bring a guest onto the digital front porch to talk with them about whatever they want to talk about. We have a little guest question bank, and our guests choose some questions, and then we just chat with them. Our goal is to connect with each other and remind everyone the power of social connection. So, who do we have on for the pod today?
Today is one of my dearest friends from way back. My best friend as we grew up. I'm looking forward to sitting with Brent for a
It's
couple
going to be nice.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, let's bring Brent on.
Let's bring Brent on.
Hi guys, how are you guys doing?
Hey,
Good
Brent.
afternoon.
Why don't you tell about how long you two have known each other?
Man, how long has it been? I don't think I can remember back then. At least elementary school, I think. I think we
Well,
were
yeah.
on some YMCA football teams together, and then obviously
Probably
got
the
into
third
middle
grade-ish.
school, and
Third grade.
And then of course the wrestling
so
circuit.
third grade.
I think it was probably around
so
third
it's
grade.
been a long time.
Do you remember,
It
was
could've
it
been sooner
like
than
instant friendship, or were you like, I guess I can be friends with that guy?
I don't know. It probably wasn't. Who knows? It was probably, I don't like that guy, and then he's all right, So
Yeah.
Hey Brent, would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
well, I'm currently about a month away from retiring from teaching in Texas.
Woohoo! That's amazing.
6 years, so I figure that's it's time. I still enjoy being around kids. I still think I want to do something with kids, teaching or coaching.
Mhm.
I just don't know the level. I was talking to my sister, and it was about, just what level you want to be in at, like the high school level, what I'm currently in. I mean, during the season, you're talking 70 to 90-hour weeks, getting up
Mhm.
at 4:30 in the morning and things like that. But I still want to, I don't want to do it to that extent, but I still want to do it. But, been living in Texas, for 23 years. We moved down there, um, took a teaching job in Fort Worth, and then been down there for 23 years. But before that, grew up here in Iowa with Gibby, and you know, I got a wife, 35 years. So we're breaking the curve on that end, um, being married long and all that stuff. But now she's a great person and great woman, and I got two beautiful kids and a great granddaughter, or a beautiful granddaughter. So that's
Mm.
as Gibby's experience, the grandparenting is pretty good stuff. I'd almost skip
Yep.
the parenting and go right to the grandparenting.
There was a way to do
I could
that.
see that.
My daughter looks at me sometimes, like, why didn't you do that when, why were you that easy when, she was growing up and that. So I'm like, I used all my nose on you guys. So the
Yeah.
nose are gone. So River hears no nose. So well, she does.
Only ones that are
She ends
for
up
safety.
getting her way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
lovely.
But gonna retire from teaching. Like I said, I still want to work, and I want to live up here. My dad passed away a couple years ago, and my sister and I decided to keep the house, and I like to spend some more time up here and on just a small town. Getting back to I live in the metroplex of Dallas, and it's crazy. It takes me 35 minutes to go 5 miles. I drive into Keokuk here, and I get to go down River Road and look at the barges coming up, and every day is a different day. But it's cool that we have those relationships, like you can be gone for, whatever, a year, 2 years, you come back and it's like you just saw them yesterday. It's those are pretty good friendships when we can, pick conversations up like you haven't missed a beat.
Yeah.
Those are the friendships that are like family.
Yeah, but
Oh, they
get
are.
back here and
Yeah.
enjoy some of that. And I got a granddaughter in Texas, so that I also want to see her. I'm pretty spoiled right now. I get to see her a couple times a week, and and get to hang out with her and do a lot of things with her, and so I still want to do that stuff. But there's part of me that wants to be back in the smaller town. I mean, Keokuk's not a small town, but smaller living, or smaller town type living. Just a slower life. I spent 10 years in Keosauqua thinking I needed to get out of that place because it was too small. And now I look back, I'm like, man, that was all right.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's interesting. Brent, can you tell us a moment from your childhood here in Keokuk that still brings you joy?
man, I just think it's probably being on that river, with friends. Like last night, there's nothing better than sitting by a fire last night with a bunch of friends and, just chatting up and doing whatever, and just having a good time. So, I look back to that, and I don't know if there's one moment or one thing, but just coming back here is a good feeling to see old friends and sit by the river and hang out. So, does that answer the question?
Yeah.
That's your question, buddy. Whatever you
I
want.
know.
We have some of our questions. We have a lot of people ask, and your next one is something that is, I bet you, I don't know, maybe not 50%, but so tell us, what is the coolest mode of transportation that you've been on?
Well, I would have to say motorcycles. I enjoyed them. Obviously we had our trip, that was out to Colorado, which was, I still think of that stuff, the original motorcycle trip and that. And
you're going to have to tell them the story.
Gibby was going in the Navy, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And you bought a Gold Wing, 1100 Gold Wing. And you're like, let's go to Colorado. And I'm like, I'm probably the only dumb one in the group that said yes. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And I remember my dad, like, do you have a motorcycle license? No. I'm not coming out to Colorado to get you if you guys get pulled over. He's like, you're just going to have to find your own way home. I'm like, okay.
He would have come got us, though.
He would have.
Whoa, so let's back up. Before you guys take off, what did you pack to bring with you?
Oh, you should have seen that motorcycle. We had a duffel bag on the back of it. We had sleeping bags. We had a tent. And a friend of ours that we borrowed that tent from, he was asking me not too long ago, whatever happened to that tent? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't
probably still on the motorcycle.
Back,
Yeah.
Yeah. But so we had fishing poles. It looked like the Beverly Hillbillies. If you ever looked at the Beverly Hillbillies at the beginning of the show, they got all their belongings on the back of that truck. That's us.
Yeah.
And I'm riding on the back of it, and we took off, went to Springfield, Missouri. I remember we went down to Hubbinger's at the time. And Katie, she came out because she didn't believe us that she was going to go. Like, we're going to do this. And she's like, you guys won't do that. Because I think we had to borrow motorcycle helmets from somebody. I don't even know they fit. We just had to have them in Missouri.
Yeah.
Because Missouri had motorcycle or helmet
law. Yeah.
But we ended up just going down and seeing Rick and hung out with him. And then we drove across Kansas. And we're almost at Dodge City, Kansas, and it's like dark or getting dark. And the lights go out on the motorcycle. And we're driving in the dark. You don't have a motorcycle license, I don't believe.
I didn't have a motorcycle license. We did have motorcycle insurance, though. I don't know if that was going to help us.
You did?
Yeah, I bought insurance for it.
But anyway, so we end up in Dodge City. We pull into the 7-Eleven, and we're trying to find a place to camp. Well, there's like some deserted state park that these girls are like, yeah, we can take you out there. And we follow right behind their car because we don't have lights on the motorcycle. So we're following right behind the car. They take us out there. There's some wild stuff that seems like going on out there. There's some fires. It's a place to hang out, it looked like. And we didn't even put the tent up. We just kind of laid in between the tent and like hung out all night until the next morning. And then we got up and went to a motorcycle store, and it was like a fuse or something. Thank God.
That was it. Just a fuse.
We ended up in Colorado Springs. We took our fishing poles. I think he caught one fish. I don't think I caught any. It was a disaster. We didn't have any food. We didn't have anything. Not as well prepared as you could be. We had plenty of clothes and stuff like that, but we didn't have food and things like that. And it rained on us every night, but it was a cool trip. We went up to top of Pikes Peak and up through it was a cool trip. But then on the way back, I think we ran out of money and we had to borrow money from somebody in Omaha to put gas on the motorcycle. And then we stopped in Des Moines and got money from my sister.
Yep.
And my sister was like embarrassed. She was in the State Fair Singers, and like all of her friends come out, and here's two. I mean, God knows what we look like, been
no shower
on a motorcycle for a week.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And we had to get money from her, and then we ended up coming home. But I mean, it was a cool trip. And then I got an opportunity. A friend of mine down in Rockwall. We went on a couple motorcycle trips. We did Sturgis, which was really cool. Just, I don't know if I want to go to Sturgis during Sturgis. I think I'd want to do it at a different time if I did it again. And then we went out through Yellowstone, another trip, and back. Now those are cool trips. I mean, probably the most unique transportation is probably my wedding night. It was one of my dad's old wrestlers had a team of mules and buggy, and they took us from the church to the reception area. That was pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I don't remember that.
So, Brent, I have two questions. The question one is, it was the original motorcycle trip where you both learned to not have the tent opening facing uphill. Is that correct?
Oh yeah. All right. So making me skip over some stuff. So we get in this argument in 11 Mile Canyon or something like that. It rained every night, and I'm like, I'm darn determined. Like we're putting this tent right here, and Gibby's like, water's gonna run in. I'm like, no, it's not. We're putting it right here. I'm tired of this stuff, and he's like, all right, do it. Well, soon we had a stream running through the tent, and I think I have a picture of the most important thing. I think we had a 6-pack of beer in the corner sitting in the cold water so it could stay cold. I think that was the important thing. But
hot dogs were in a package floating.
Yeah.
It was a moment of clarity that we were small. And it wasn't really an argument. We were trying to get everything put together really quick. And I mean, we were getting drenched. And we started pounding the tent in, and I didn't realize until after we had the stakes in. I was like, Brent, we got to turn around, and he was like, we already have it staked down. And so I conceded, and it was not a big deal. A lesson learned.
I mean, here you are decades later. It's okay.
It's a memory, Yeah, it's a memory.
Yeah.
Well, what was really funny is it was miserable because it was also cold. We get in there finally, and we both fell asleep after we got this kind of laid out. We fell asleep for probably 30, 40 minutes. I don't know. And when we woke up, it was bright, super shiny out. And so we got out, and the warmth and everything. I was like, hey, bud, why don't you take the bike back to the country store, get us some new buns because they got drenched, and a few other things. And I'll start getting stuff dried out. I mean, our sleeping bags were soaked. I mean, when I say soaked, and so that's what we did. He took off. I put the sleeping bags out on these great big boulders. Steam was coming off of them. I hung the tent up in a tree that made it look like a hot air balloon, and it dried out almost instantly. I mean, and when he got back,
it did pretty fast. It was crazy how fast that stuff dried out.
That desert air can dry it out real quick.
And that was just a moment that came and went, and we just continued, and it was one of the funniest moments of the trip.
My other question is, can you say in like 1 or 2 sentences what it is about riding on a motorcycle that makes it your favorite or coolest mode of transportation?
I just think it's like being on that river on a boat, the wind's in your face, motorcycle, the phone doesn't ring, I don't have to answer the phone, and I can turn up the music and just kind of ride. It was kind of my, I don't know, peaceful time. It'd be needed it after coaching and busy weekend and that. It was nice to go on a Sunday and just go for a ride. now there's too many people to live down there. It's too crazy to drive that thing down there.
Mm-hmm.
Just too many people. But get out on those country roads and just go and just don't have a whole lot of cares at the moment. So it was kind of my escape time. It's kind of like here. I enjoyed coming up here. It's obviously, especially when my dad was here, but just coming back. And with this place, you can kind of be as social as you want and kind of as secluded as you want to be. I mean, you can it's just your place to kind of regather. It's a reset. So motorcycle here. I just kind of had little things that you just had to get out and about and get by yourself and kind of reset sometimes.
Yeah, that's well said. I think we all need some kind of outlet like that in our lives, motorcycle or not. Brent, can you tell us about a book or a movie that you swear by that everyone should experience?
I would say you have to watch Open Range. And then the reason I picked this question is kind of like I talk to my kids all the time. They think I'm a weird old guy, and I'm like, anytime we have a break, like spring break, Christmas break, summertime, I'm like, all right, you got to watch these movies. You got to watch Revenge of the Nerds, 16 Candles. I forget a couple of
Breakfast Club.
I'm like, they're just a set, like 4 or 5 movies. I'm like, you got to watch, like maybe Dazed and Confused. That's a pretty good one, but I mean, it's just, you got to watch that one though. I mean, but anyway, what I'm saying? It just kind of, I'm like, kind of get the 80s, and like stuff I'm talking about. Watch these movies because I say stuff all the time. They look at me like, crazy old man. So
I think that's a great answer. I try to do kind of the same with my kids. I mean, they're still very young, but I'm hoping that like with music and with classic movies and things like that, they don't have to be your favorite movies, but to at least know about them helps continue on those legacies.
I'd say it's been cool. Like with my granddaughter, I get to start rewatching some of those the movies that I watched with my kids and stuff like that. Watch. Obviously, they've moved on and there's other stuff, but there's still some classics that you can watch and stuff like that. So that's been kind of like, I enjoyed watching that with my daughter or my son. So you're watching it you're watching it with your granddaughter.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's funny. The first concert I took my daughter to was AC/DC. I got out of wrestling practice one night, and a buddy of mine that coaches, he had some parents that had a box at the American Airlines. So he had a bunch of tickets because he goes, hey, do you want to go to AC/DC tonight? And I'm like, well, how much are the tickets? He's like, free. I'm like, oh, okay. Well,
holy moly, that's amazing.
Linda didn't want to go. I don't think my son wanted to go. And my daughter's like, I'll go. So she sat in a luxury box and saw AC/DC. I mean,
that's
can't
incredible.
get better than that.
Wow, truly.
And I took my son to Iron Maiden, and I don't think he was too excited about going to Iron Maiden, but about halfway through, he kind of looked at me and he goes, Dad, these old guys rock. Oh.
Yep.
That's good.
My job is done, I got it. All right. But yeah, fun stuff.
I was thinking about this, like, I can't remember what song was on. Maybe it was the Rolling Stones. There's something on the radio. And I had this moment of like picturing, what do I picture the band being like? I picture them old. Like, what do you picture the band being like? Probably young, like when they were in their prime, like when you listen to the music. And I wish that I could have that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I've never have given any of that thought, but that is interesting.
Yeah. So, Brent, can you tell us about a meal that you had that was so good that you still think about it occasionally?
I'd come home from college and my mom would always make fried chicken, mashed potatoes and gravy, and peas. And I don't know what it was about that, but like that was, I guess maybe because it was a home cooked meal and it was maybe cooked by my mother, but that just sticks out to me. Like that was like, I always looked forward to coming home to that, like just fried chicken. And I don't even eat much fried chicken anymore, but back then it was like I'd come home, I always looked forward to that, fried chicken, mashed potatoes, gravy, and peas. I don't know why. And then later on, I think probably because my dad liked them so much, we'd eat a lot of BLTs here. So
who doesn't like a good BLT, man?
That's about an Iowa thing, BLT and sweet corn, so.
Man, kind of screwed me over. That's what I want now.
Yeah, I know. We should have saved this question for last so we could all get offline and go eat because now I'm hungry.
Yeah. But, just something about that sticks in there. And everyone's not much fried chicken, but I'll get chicken fried steak and mashed potato and I mean, kind of the same thing.
Good old comfort home food.
Good stuff.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, yeah. Just good stuff. But
so, like when you were in college, not at your parents' house, what were you eating back then?
Probably a bunch of junk. I mean, whatever's in the dorms,
Yeah.
I mean, and I ate a lot of it because I put on that freshman 15, so. And then, when I moved off campus, it probably became more of a quick trip microwave,
Mm-hmm.
not good stuff, like nothing real good you should eat. So.
Brent, can you tell us about a memory from the past that felt surreal?
Yeah, just recently when we had the total eclipse.
Yeah.
And we were out with our kids, and I go outside. I think it's going to be cool, but I'm not like dead to right. I have to see this thing. I'm like, all right, okay, it's going to get dark for where, how long, and that. They gave us these cool glasses, and we take the kids out there, and then it happens. And I'm like, this might be one of the coolest things I've ever seen, like witnessed, because all of a sudden, the bugs change. People that are, out at night, they're whatever. And it was just cool. You just kind of take it all in then, like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, that's a cool moment, like, and it, maybe, and it makes you think about like just stepping back more and just enjoying things,
Mm-hmm.
just taking it in, because sometimes you just kind of witness something, you go on by and you're like, and then you look back and you go, wow, maybe should have checked that out a little longer or something like that. But that was cool. And then to see the reaction of the kids, because I think they kind of had the same thing, like, and it was hot that day in Texas. It was already in the 90s, and it was like, got to go outside and stand here and, this and that. And then it was like, it happened and everybody's like, whoa, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great answer. I love how you went into it not exactly knowing how it was going to go or being super interested in it, but you did it anyway. And now it's something
I find
that sticks
myself,
with you.
I have a bad attitude probably with a lot of things, like not sure I want to do them, I'm like,
that reminds me
I'm
of
going to drag my
somebody.
feet into this.
Who does that remind me of?
We went camping, 2 summers ago with another friend of ours, and man, what a fantastic trip that was, going fly fishing and up in the mountains. But there are certain parts, I don't mind camping, but there are certain parts about camping that I wasn't real keen on. Like I kept on talking to Gibby. I'm like, man, I'm not too sure about this part of it,
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got there, man, it was cool. It was good. I have a bad attitude going into some things, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I like this, and then
Yeah.
like, why don't I just be more open?
Wait a minute. Gibby, what do you think about that?
He did a great job. Yes, I agree. There's sometimes if it's not something in the norm, you're like, I could probably do without that. But just like you were saying, it's like leaving the football game in the end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth, because it's blown. Stay a little bit longer, or the concert. I don't want to stay till the end of the concert because it's going to be terrible to get out of here or whatever. Stay a little bit longer. You never know what's going to happen. Wait, tell us a topic that you could talk about for hours.
I tell you the topic that I think I'm kind of on a roll with right now is public education. I'm tired of, and people get tired of hearing me talk, but I get tired of people hammering public education. because the building I'm in, there's some people doing some pretty awesome things that are working really hard, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, it's just I get tired of the bombardment on the problem. It has problems. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
There's no perfect thing for anything, and or the things that need to be fixed. But I get tired of people like hammering on teachers. They're not doing their job and things like that because you know I don't see that. I see a lot of people working really hard, and we're teaching kids way more than what we were being taught in school.
Mm-hmm.
I,
Mm-hmm.
I think one thing that they need to do more of is teach kids how to figure things out, because I think things have become too easy, and they don't want it. Their thirst for learning is not because they can go push a button and find it. We had to look things up in the encyclopedia and all kinds of stuff. Now you can just go look at YouTube or whatever,
Yeah.
internet.
Yeah.
And but lately that's probably my big topic. And the other thing is, the biggest thing is this list. Our kids are afraid to fail now.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't want to stick their nose out there and try new things, or they don't want to be uncomfortable. They just they need to learn how to figure some things out. I think we could do a better job of that. And I don't know what class you teach for that, and call it life or whatever, and throw a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of stuff out. But
Are you going to make a course, a resilience course?
I think that's one class they need to take, because that helps you
Yeah.
figure things out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got-
I think that's a good point. I think public education is something that I could talk about forever too.
Hey, so it's game night. They're at the hacienda. Which game is your choice to play?
Well, I play a little Uno now. I'm big into. There's a 7-year-old that drags me into playing Uno and Yahtzee and Life,
Nice.
and
Yeah.
which is cool. I think Life is what I think that's the game that Linda's mother, their grandmother, like her great grand used to play with the kids and stuff. So that's kind of cool that repeats. But
Mm-hmm.
the other ones. But then there's one. What's that called? Where you match cards, where you turn one over and then you try to find the other one.
Yeah, the matching game.
I get crushed at that. I mean, she smoked. She
Young
smoked
brains.
about every. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like I had this friend of mine. His daughter was legally blind, but what's that? Where you drop the exacto, where you try to like tic tac toe, where you try to drop the chips in and make a
What,
was it
Connect Four?
exacto? Connect Four.
Yeah.
And she would crush me. She could obviously feel them and difference. And I'm like, just every game she just crushes me. So I'm not
That's
very good
awesome.
at board games and that. So, but no, it's fun. It's fun though, because I usually get my rear end kicked by her, but every once in a while I'll win, and she'll get all kind of pouty and stuff like that. And I'm like, you just beat me 10 times. I don't know, once.
I
Yeah.
love it. Those are the games I'm playing right now too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're coming to the end of our question list here. So the last one is, what message do you have for your future self?
This is gonna be funny. Stretch.
Stretch.
That's not funny. That is good.
Because I'm beat up and sore, and a lot of it is self-inflicted, because I just don't take the time to stretch, and like my wife, she stretches every day, and she still has her aches and pains, but she sure moves a heck of a lot better than I do,
Mhm.
but I would say stretch, because I'm starting to try to do better at it now, and it's painful.
Yeah, it's not easy when you're not.
That's
So
why
tell
we
us,
don't want to stretch.
what stretches are your favorite stretches?
Oh man, you're gonna hold me to the fire now, man. I don't know. It looks ugly. I don't even know if you call them just stretches. It's kind of like what I can do. I tell you what I have done. I bought one of those stinking portable saunas,
Uh-huh.
and you have a little steamer that shoots steam into it. I tell you, that's been a changer. I get in there and I'll stretch my hamstrings, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of mine was with my hips, and that is just bringing my knees up to my chest and stuff. So I kind of get in there and do a little stretching, a little walk in place, little.
That's good. I think that's amazing that you're doing that. I think the sauna is a kind of genius because it really loosens up your muscles.
Yeah, and I got to have warmth, to do that stuff. So probably because I've been in a wrestling room for 36 years. I would say stretching. And the other thing is, I mean, I don't know, just don't get all wound up about things. I think I used to get so wound up about things. And I think as I get older, I try to just take a deep breath and chill, because kind of like my granddaughter, she got that little fire attitude, and I think I know where she got that from, and that's not, but just chilling out and not getting too wound up about things, because it'll all figure out,
Yeah, something will work out.
My wife's pretty good about saying that, she says that all the time, probably because she knows me, but just chill out, it'll be all right,
I love that. Both of those are so good.
So you got a physical and a mental one, yeah? So
Yeah.
there you go.
The secrets of life. Stretch and chill.
Yeah.
Well, brother, it has been a pleasure having you on our podcast.
It's cool. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, really appreciate it.
You did really well, both of you. I commend you both.
That was, for the listeners, I was told you will behave.
Yeah. The things that you brought onto the podcast today, Brent, we love. Great stories all around. Great ending advice for yourself, but also for anyone, or, for Gibby to stretch and chill. Yeah, you guys are two peas.
Kind of peas. All of our friend group is a bunch of peas. It's funny.
I mean, I think you're right. I think that was a great way of summarizing the chat. Well, here's a question. Is there anything on this list about him that you didn't know? Maybe something recent that you talked about?
No, we still talk quite a bit, as a matter of fact, probably at least every other week, if not once a week. And they're short conversations, guy conversations, Like,
Wait, did he tell you about when he saw the eclipse?
He did mention it to me back in the day. He's like, hey, did you see the eclipse? I was like, I don't think it really aligned with where we're at. He did mention it, but he didn't tell me that it touched him, or it was something that,
had an
other than that. But, a couple things, just like any other friendship, all of us have our best friends and our friend groups, and we butt heads every the trip that he had mentioned in his favorite mode of transportation, the motorcycles.
As he calls the original motorcycle trip.
Yeah.
What, did that almost end your friendship?
It was challenging. There was things that we skipped over, and it would have been.
He said things very rosy. The way that he presented it, like
it was,
we weren't arguing.
You're
probably fighting physically.
We didn't physically. It was close.
Nearly.
A couple of times. And it's just silly things. I mean, first of all, I said that I asked him, hey, we're gonna go on this bike trip, and he goes, yeah. About 3 months before I got my bike, I said, I got this so we could go on a motorcycle trip, and he goes, yeah, I'll go on it. And about a month went by, and 2 months left out, and I was like, hey, well, you're focused on this trip, right? And he goes, yeah, I'm in it. And I'm like, yeah, we're going to go down through Missouri, and but we'll spend a week driving around, camping out in Colorado. I'm on. A month out. Hey, you into this still, right? And he goes, I'm on. I don't know what you're 2 weeks out, I'm on. A week out, I'm on. I call him up the night before, and he goes, we're really going to do this? That was what he said. We're really going to do this? I'm like, yes. I've been saying this. Yeah, we're really going to do this. I'm like, yes. I'm going to be at your place at 5 a.m. We're taking off. So then we took off. There were moments on that trip that we got to spend a moment where we did not take a thing for granted. There was one time we were riding. It was raining on us in Colorado, and there was 2 full rainbows, and we were going right under it and then through it. And both of us was like, no way, this is, and so there was a bunch of little moments like that. It was a friendship that it stretched our friendship as far wide as you could possibly without snapping, and it brought us closer together that we'll never forget.
Well, that's another episode of Porch Swing People. Thanks for tuning in. You can find our episodes on Spotify and on YouTube.
Porch Swing People, out.
Porch Swing People is recorded and produced by Lex and Gibby. Opening music was written and produced by Michael Gibson. Porch Swing People is a podcast featuring everyday people. If interested in being a guest, email us at porchswingpeeps@gmail.com.